Hello, 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 my beautiful ones out there. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm dedicated to being here every week. Um, it's important that, of course, I'm not asking you to be here every week, but I sure do appreciate your company. Uh, just doing a little housekeeping, just putting up my private intuitive sessions. If I figure I do that ahead of time in case I do forget because I don't all the time come back to the chat area to post anything myself. It's basically here to read your comments and to see what you have going on. So thank you again for joining me. All right, that is enough of that. Good evening again, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Soul Sessions. This is Wednesday night. We're going to focus on love and relationship insight. So take a moment with me tonight to truly pause, breathe in slowly, and release slowly. Yes, let the energy of the day soften just for a moment. The responsibilities, the overthinking, the emotional noise we sometimes carry without even realizing it. Just allow yourself to arrive here fully just for a little while. I'm not trying to keep you long, but just long enough to make a change in your evening or in your day, depending on where you're at and when you're watching. If you enjoy reflective spaces like this, you're always welcome to subscribe and return when soul sessions come around each and every month. I do this every second week of the month where I'm on all week long, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we step into a space that is often very tender, very honest, and sometimes deeply revealing. This is our love and relationship insight session. And one thing I've come to realize about relationships is that they have a way of showing us part of ourselves we may not fully see otherwise. Relationships reveal what we long for, what we tolerate, what we fear, and sometimes what we still need to heal. And while many people come into readings hoping to understand another person, often the deeper message becomes, hmm, what is this connection teaching me about myself? And that one question right there, many of us, almost all of us, never come back to ask because we never think that is us. But when you ask in the question, especially when you come to me for a reading and you want to know, how does the other person feel about me? What's going on in the relationship? We broken up and we haven't spoken 2 weeks. What do they feel? The real thing is what is this connection teaching me about myself? Because relationships are not only about love, they are also about self-worth, emotional truth, boundaries, trust, vulnerability, and alignment. Sometimes relationships bring comfort. Sometimes they bring confusion. Sometimes they awaken part of us we thought were healed. That's a big one. And sometimes they quietly show us where we've abandoned ourselves trying to hold on to connection. That's why spaces like this matter. Not because the cards control our lives, because they don't, but because they create a moment to pause long enough to see ourselves honestly. And I really need you to hear that. The cards are really not the other person that you're inquiring about. The cards are here so that we can see ourselves honestly. And before we move into the cards tonight, I want to sit with something that I think many people quietly struggle with in relationships. And that conversation that we're going to have here is, why do we stay connected to people who no longer feel aligned for us? Why do we stay connected to people who we know and really deeply feel that no longer align to us? Why do we stay connected to what hurt us? Sometimes the hardest relationships to release are not always the worst ones. Sometimes they are the ones filled with potential, history, that's a big one, emotional attachment, or hope for what could still become. So the history is the big part, because a lot of times, a lot of us, sorry, my phone rang. But the history, we feel, okay, we've been with them for 3 years, we've been with them for 5 years, we've been with them for 7 years, and it's been on and off and on and off and on and off. And for you to detach from that, you start to feel like I wasted time. And that's not necessarily true. There was lessons to learn. You were actually learning about yourself more than you were thinking that you were learning about the other person. That whole relationship, every time we're in a relationship, you're learning about you. So, one thing we've been learning is that attachment and alignment are not always the same. We can feel deeply attached to memories, chemistry, familiarity, and comfort, while still feeling internally that something is no longer aligned. So let that breathe for you for a minute. And before I go to the next part about the fear of letting go, if you have a question regarding love and relationships, feel free to go ahead and send me a hello. Feel free to put something in the chat if you that I can go ahead and get ready to read on. But we feel deeply attached to memories a lot of times. And it's these memories that we keep bringing up. And unfortunately, when there's an argument, we dig back into those memories to start throwing darts. And that never makes the argument any better. And doesn't make the it doesn't make the communication any better. Okay. So the fear of letting go, and often we don't hold on because we're weak. That is so that is so taboo. That is not why you hang on to relationships. So if you have felt that, oh, I'm too weak and I can't let them go and I can't let her go. They're too drawn to me. We've been through so much. Get yourself off the hook for a minute. You're not holding on because you're weak. You're holding on because you're invested emotionally. You're holding on because you remember the good moments. You're holding on because you fear what comes after letting go. And that last bullet point is honestly is king. Your fear is not breaking off the relationship. Your fear is actually what's going to happen tomorrow. How do I feel tomorrow? Are they going to find somebody new immediately? So as when I'm in my sessions, I make sure that I try to get across to you that let tomorrow get here and then deal with it. But as for today, there is no need to try to figure out what tomorrow's going to bring. Take care of yourself right now. Take care of yourself in this moment. Take care of yourself in this time, because right now is the only thing that matters. How you feel and what you go through and what you speak right now shapes everything for tomorrow. Okay. So sometimes the unknown feels scarier to the discomfort we already know. Emotional truth and self worth, mm, that's a good one. So, the deeper lesson inside relationships is not, do they love me? A lot of you ask that all the time. Well, I just want to know, on the platforms, I'm known as Lady Belle, and as always, I just want to know, Lady Belle, do they still love me? And I'm going to tell you, as a reader, as an intuitive guide, I do not say whether or not a person loves you or not, because that is not my position to do so. I am not a mind reader. I am an energy reader. I am very intuitive. I am an empath. And I feel other people's energies through the person that's asking the question. And I'm able to tap in with my spirit guides. I'm able to tap in and draw from that to be able to give you a response. And if I feel that it's a little too disconnected, then I go ahead and turn to the tarot. So that, I mean, helps tremendously more than what you know. But it's not about whether or not do they still love you. Okay. But it's about, am I abandoning myself trying to hold on to this? Okay. So sit with that for a minute. You're wondering if the person loves you, but the real question is, am I abandoning myself trying to hold on to this? Am I honoring what I truly feel? Am I choosing peace or simply avoiding loss? And those are deeply honest questions. Okay. So if you are one that journal, if you're going through a hard time, and I'm just putting the keyboard away and bringing out, I didn't bring out my cards. And bringing out my cards. Those are the real deeper questions. So when you're in a session with me, we go through those deeper questions because you really feel that you're asking me about the other person. But people are a mirror to us. And what I have discovered definitely over the years, and this is really nothing new, but I see this more and more every session that I have, is that when we feel like we don't like something in somebody, or we don't trust what this person is doing, whenever we have the strong disagreement or unalignment with someone else, these are things actually mirroring deep within us. Okay. And if you have children, when you have, especially if you're a female and you have girls, and you're like, oh, I can't stand the way that my daughter does this, or she doesn't like that. Always, often, you got to turn around and look back at you, because she is mirroring, and they do mirror what you were or what is underlining deep inside. So Nella, thank you. Thank you for coming back to me. I'm going to say Dennis 8826. Will I get into a relationship soon? Okay. So that is a question. If you're still here, I will go ahead and answer that for you. So tonight, if you have a relationship question, again, resting in your heart, you're welcome to place your full question in the chat, and let's explore what the cards reveal. So I will pull one card to start, and then if I feel that it needs a clarifier, then I'll go ahead and pull a clarifying card. I do not rush. I am not one of those, I'm not a fast food tarot reader. Not giving any shade to anybody else that does, but that's just not my style. I can fly off the handle and do yes or no questions, but you know what? My guides won't let me do it. So let's see. 8826. Will you get into a relationship soon? I program my cards that my even numbers tell me a yes. And as you see, that is an 8 of Pentacles, which Pentacles is definitely grounding, is everything to do with earth, relationship, people, job, and money. So, yes, you will get into a relationship soon. How soon? Oh, we got some other cards. We're actually looking at about 2 weeks. So, but within that 2 weeks, and here's the thing with timelines, especially if I go to a timeline and I get some other cards before I get to the number card. Well, these are the two cards that we have. We have the Queen of Swords, okay? Which definitely that means that whether it's you or the person that you are going to come into contact with, they are in transformation. I want you to see, I hope you can see all the butterflies in her crown. I'm just trying to make sure that that gets, and there's butterflies all in her seats, okay, which means transformation. For me, when I'm looking at it, she's definitely pointing to the east, which means going forward. So this person has pretty much come up out of some hardships and they are moving fairly quickly and they know what they want and how they want it. She's not in her head. He or she is not in their head, and they're going to come very direct. So, if you're ready, you need to be ready to be direct. Also, before I came up with the 2 weeks, I also pulled up the devil card. Okay. Now, does that mean that he or she is sinister? No, that does not. That just means that there's some pleasure principles going on, and there's a yin and a yang, and also there are yokes around their necks that they can take off if they choose to. So to me, being that we're talking about relationship and this is the question, will you get into a relationship soon? What this is also showing me is that there's baggage that's going on. So he or she is transforming, releasing the baggage, but this, my dear, I believe it's you, and you still have some emotional baggage that you should not be thinking about carrying into a new relationship. So deal with that first, and you getting into a relationship soon may become faster than what you expect. So I'm going to pull, if there are no other questions, I'm going to pull another card that's going to deal with the topic of tonight, which is, of course, why do we stay connected to what hurts? Ah, by the way, I had an interview. Oh, okay, wait a minute. By the way, I had an interview today. I feel burnt out, but after good sleep, I will be much more realistic. Congrats on your interview. We did talk about that before, so I'm ecstatic for you. And you know what? Did the interview go well? Yes, the interview went well. Remember, I said I programmed my cards that the even numbers are a yes. And this is an Eight of Swords. I don't know how much you can see that, but it's the Eight of Swords, which means that one, it definitely, oh my goodness, it definitely speaks to how you're feeling right now because you just said that you're drained and you're blindfolded. And right now, you are this Eight of Swords, her blindfolded with the swords behind her, which are thoughts. What this card really symbolizes for you, Nella, is that you're letting fate have its way. You're letting fate have its way. You are not going to try to rock the boat. You are not going to try to make ends meet and rush things along. You're just saying, you know what? It drained me. That's good. I've given it the all that I could. And if I am the best candidate, then I know that they'll call me. But good for you because I know that they're going to call you back. So congrats. Okay. I wonder if something is coming good in love for me. Okay. And thanks. Sorry, I didn't understand what you will take cards for. Just want to give you an update. I feel stuck. No, you're fine. You are absolutely fine. And yes, just to let you know, yes, I do come into the to this platform, to this space with a topic, but if you have something else that you need to address, then yes, of course we can discuss it. I am not one of those that be like, no. And yes, you leave it to God. So, something coming good in love. What are you struggling with, sweetheart? And I could tell you what it is. Here's the first thing. Is something coming good for you in love? Yes, of course it is. Always will. But what this card says to me, the Seven of Wands, this card is telling me that you are struggling with yourself. You are struggling with your thoughts. For some reason, you feel unlovable. For some reason, oh, never mind. I can't say for some reason anymore because Spirit just spoke. You have been made to blame for a lot. Somehow, some way, your past relationships always made it seem like it is your fault. And you have started to believe the lie. Take yourself off the hook, sweetheart. Take yourself off the hook for being honest. Take yourself off the hook for expressing what it is that you feel. And it's not your fault that someone, um, that you weren't aligned with the person that could receive you properly. Yeah. 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 You did nothing wrong. And you haven't been doing anything wrong. You are lovable. And it's time that you start believing that. It's time that you start believing that you do deserve. It's time, not that you do deserve, that you are deserving. You don't have to, you don't have to be seeking this. It will fall in your lap as soon as you start adjusting your mindset. As soon as you stop looking at others as if they are out to get you or as if they are out to purposely mislead you and take advantage of you. And I know that that's not easy. Um, and I see what you're saying. You say it, yes, deep rooted from my family pattern. And that's the first thing that we need to fix. And to tell you the truth, a lot of times not a lot of times I do. I blame the medical field for this because somebody always want to say, oh, it's the way how they raised, and oh, this is because there's always a blame. Um, no, not quite victim mentality. I'm not. I won't dare put that on you. What it is that we do look for reasons of why this always happens to us. And we look for the reasons outside of ourselves when truly the reasons are within. And they are within because, yes, it could be a family pattern, but at the same time, once you notice that it is a pattern or this is how I was treated, you do have the choice of change. You do have the choice to say, this will not affect me anymore. You do have a choice to believe differently. You have a choice to act differently. You have a choice to move through space differently. How do you start that? Really, is simple. When you brush your teeth in the morning, or your wash up routine. Do you notice if you always start with, because if you're right handed, you always start with the right hand and you always brush the right side of your teeth first and then go to the left? Well, start switching those patterns like that. Maybe try to learn to brush your teeth with your left hand. Do it with your left hand instead. You know, I catch myself doing that all the time. If I'm putting on my pants, I normally put the left foot in first. Well, what happened when I started to try to do the right foot? Believe it or not, I had to find myself leaning up against the wall so I don't fall over. Never knew that it was that hard to do. Uh, but that's what happens when you start to change your habitual patterns. Um, Bob Proctor used to say, you know, disrupting the paradigm, you know, is those small, soft shifts that you make that makes the difference. And when you start making those, oh, I'm sorry that you're buffering. When you start making those small shifts, then you're able to do that with deeper patterns that you are trying to move past. I don't like to say break free, but you start to move past those patterns. So start small. Start with what you know that you normally do. Um, could be even the way you brush your hair. If you brush your hair starting on the right side first, maybe start on the left side. If you start on the right side first, maybe start going to the back and do a back flip and then go to the middle. But watch how you do things habitually. Watch the normal patterns that you start to do, and then you can start breaking those family deep rooted patterns. Okay, but when it comes to matters of the heart, yeah, you don't have to live the way the others live. You don't have to carry on family patterns. Just because grandma did it, if we're not talking about cooking, when just because grandma did it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Just because mom did it that way, don't mean that you have to do it that way. Just because dad did this doesn't mean that that's what you have to look for in your mate, and vice versa. You know, whoever your partner may be. Um, I think that is all often funny. Either we look for someone that is just like our parents, or we look for someone total opposite. But within all of that, I want you to understand the choice is always yours. Okay, so I'm going to draw one other card. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll answer it. If there's any questions, even regarding to anything that I talked about, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll read, I'll answer it, no problem. But I'm going to get ready to pull a card according to the question of why do we stay connected to people who no longer feel aligned for us? We stay connected because we don't realize that there's help on the other side. This is the Five of Pentacles. It's funny because this is the second time. True, we need to cut the generational limiting beliefs. Correct. Um, but this card came up for us. It's been coming up for us for the past 2 days, which is the Five of Pentacles. So to me, this is all aligned. Why do we stay connected to what hurts? Is because we're not realizing that there's help on the other side of the wall. We're not looking deep within ourselves and saying, what am I learning about me? Why does this feel why does this relationship hurt? What is it that I'm afraid that I'm letting go? So, my wonderful magic question that I'll ask all of you watching is, what is the worst that can happen if you walked away? What is the worst that can happen? Okay, so your fear is that you will be alone. Will you be alone for long? No, because that's not the way how the universe works. When you cleaned all the energy, guess what? The next one is right there. So the metaphor that I like to use is when you're at the bus station and you are trying to make it to the next terminal and you happen to miss the bus. Don't sit there and don't stand there and cry about it. Pick your chin up and then notice, look to the left. Oh my goodness, what do I see? 10 other buses waiting for their turn, waiting to go right down to the next stop. So you're afraid to you're afraid of what tomorrow will bring. But don't you understand that what happens today, how you deal with it today will determine your tomorrow. This looks like pinnacles in a stained glass window. You could assume that it is the church, but I like to assume that it's actually a veil, that is a hollow wall, that a wall that I can push down, a wall that I can push down. If these two people represents me and my feeling hurt, beyond this wall, if I knock that wall down, I can imagine that it's just nothing but rays of sunshine to melt all this snow that I am trampling in. And beyond that wall has to be something better because, dang, this looks horrid. So if I am at my lowest, can I go any lower? No. So, oh my goodness, who used to say this all the time? When it comes to mind, I'll let you know. But when here's the good thing, when you are feeling at your lowest, especially regarding a relationship, and you know that you are fearing what tomorrow will bring when it's time to let go, when it's time to let go, there's one simple thing that I want to encourage you to do. You ready? Take a nap. Go to sleep. If you take a nap and you wake up and you're still here, that means that all is well. All is well. That hurt that you are feeling, oh my goodness, you have to realize and understand it is just a feeling. The feelings come, feelings go. You don't believe me? If you felt hurt, that means that one time you definitely know what feeling good is all about. So you sit there with the hurt feeling, you let it rise up, you go to sleep with a good intention. When I wake up, this feeling will dissolve. This feeling will not have any lord over me. And I'm going to do what I need to do. It'll all be okay. And guess what? If you need a bigger cheerleader, find me. Send me an email. I don't care. Find me. And we'll work through it together. All right. So it is 7:30. Have we been? Yep, 33 minutes. This is good. Just like I said, I do not hold you for long. Nope, not my game plan. So let's get ready to close. If there are no other questions, I do appreciate you being with me again. I hope you learned something. I did. I know it does go by really, really fast. It does. And truth is, I can talk and I can keep going, but I am respectful of your time and what it is that you have to do also. So let's take one last deep breath and get centered and release. I thank you. As we close tonight's love and relationship insight session, remember that love is not only about connection with another. Oh, it's 1:30 a.m. Bless you so much. Thank you. And listen, um, if there is another time that you want me to do the sessions, you can always request it. This is still the baby stage of the soul sessions. So I am ready to adapt, give the people what they want. So if you want to suggest that I come on another time, and probably do it twice, then you know what? I will. So I don't want to keep you up, but I do want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Um, and again, also, like I said last night, if you have any other topics that you want me to talk about and to cover, always drop it in the chat or in the comments. I always read and respond, and I will meet your demand. All right. So, phone again. So, thank you for sharing this space with me tonight. Sometimes growth asks us to be honest about what we no longer feel aligned, even when it feels difficult. Okay. So, tomorrow we'll continue with 3 card soul guidance. Until then, be gentle with your heart, stay honest with your spirit, and continue trusting what inner knowing has been trying to show you. Good night or good morning. And I love you. Thank you again. Bye bye.